Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, everybody. This is Mr. Shakespeare here again with you on the 22nd of February 2023. I'm here with psychic medium and remote viewer Liz Cross. How are you doing today, Liz?
I'm getting there, thank you. I'm so sorry I was sick the last couple of days and we weren't able to do videos. Now we're way behind, unfortunately, but I'm on the mend, so thank you.
Yeah, we are way behind. I was sick the week before, now you, so. Oh, dear.
I think you gave it to me.
Yeah, I probably did. It's an outfection, not an infection. Yeah, so all standing wave antennas. So yeah, it makes sense that you know, if you're going to go down with something, then people around you or connected to you go down at the same time. So because it minimizes the effect. There's something we might want to probe one day. Right, but today what we're going to do is the train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, something that the federal government doesn't seem to be paying a lot of attention to for some reason. I think your president's gone to Ukraine or Poland. Anyway, we've done one video on this, I believe, and there's been a bunch of questions that you solicited, and so I'm going to read these questions that are straight off Discord. So,
okay. And Mr. Shakespeare, can I just say, a lot of people are like, what's Discord? She talks about Discord all the time. Discord is a forum where we all chat to one another, right? It is a relatively censorship-free place to chat. If you want to join the Discord and interact with the interviewers, Mr. Shakespeare, Mr. Robot, Max is traveling again at the moment, so he'll be back shortly. But you need to join the Discord, and you do that by going to Patreon/remote viewing and beyond. Okay, Mr. Shakespeare, thank you. Let's see what these questions are.
right, so you need to get a connection with it, please.
All right.
So I'm going to read some of these questions as they've been written. I have not really gone through any of this, as I say, we are so far behind with our readings and everything. And so, okay, right. Question number one: was this detonation as bad as a nuclear bomb? Many people are comparing it to Chernobyl.
Ooh. I don't remember these questions at all. Was this as bad as a nuclear bomb? No, but the toxic effects are. So what does this mean? I feel like the nuclear bomb is a lot more widespread. This is more concentrated. However, the effects are now being felt out. But obviously, if it was a massive nuclear bomb, it would cover like a bigger area, but the effects are being spread out. Is it as dangerous? Absolutely, it's as dangerous as a nuclear bomb.
Right.
If you get close to these toxins, yes.
So was the detonation of these chemicals more dangerous than allowing it to seep in the soil?
No.
Do they not go into the soil once it rains anyway? I mean, I'm assuming he means here the chemicals. Does it not go into the soil anyway once it rains?
Yes, they do. They do go into the soil, but did they get into the soil immediately as it happened? No. I feel that, well, and as you can see, the answer I'm getting back is that the ground was pretty frozen, which is working in their favor. However, it still means that they're stuck to that top layer of the ground.
Right. Okay.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah. People have been getting sick several hundred miles away. How far from the detonation site are these chemicals harmful to animals and humans?
Ooh, gosh. Okay. How far away from the site are people getting sick? It's up to about 2,000 miles away.
Wow.
So it traveled by air. Okay. I feel that the toxins were carried away as particles by air, whatever the way the wind was blowing, and it has dumped it sort of that way. Now, as it's moving that way, obviously it's dissipated. It's not as concentrated as it was, but nonetheless, it still has moved. Which direction did it go? Did it go west? No. Did the wind go? I feel like it went sort of northeast. The wind continued to blow that way, sort of northeast.
Okay. What will be the effect of consuming animal and vegetation, animal product, I suppose meat, and vegetation from this region in the future?
These are all good questions. What will be the effects of consuming animal products in the region and I guess crops as well in the near future? Well, they're going to be contaminated, right? And how much of contamination or how big of a concentrated amount of particles do you need? So it only takes very, very little amount, a very small amount, to have effects on damaging or causing disease cells, right? As we know, in the cell division process, when the cells divide and it creates a new cell, that's when the new cell becomes diseased or damaged, and that starts like a growth, right? Or it starts a process, a disease process. It only takes a very, very small amount in order to affect that cell division.
Okay. Should there be, or will there be, should and will there be mass evacuation of all central and eastern states?
Will there be central and eastern states? No. The government are pretty much just brushing this under the carpet now. They don't want any more disruption. They can't afford it. They can't afford to compensate people. They can't afford to house people that have been evacuated. They cannot afford to pay for the cleanup. Although, who is the train company? Do we actually know?
I don't know. Let's have a look. Norfolk Southern Rail Company.
Okay, Norfolk Southern Rail Company. Have you paid out any compensation? No, they're paying for the cleanup, but what about all the toxicity? No, they can't afford that.
Right. Okay, so why is the US government are burying their heads about it and seem to
They
be
can't afford to deal with this. The cleanup is billions and billions and billions of dollars. Now, unfortunately, what's going to happen, and this is what I feel, okay? What I feel is going to happen is people are going to have long-term health effects from this, especially by way of lung issues. and then you're going to have a class action lawsuit. This is going to take years and years to resolve. There will be a class action lawsuit against the train company and against whoever manages the lines. You know, it could be another company that manages the lines and a different company that is hauling the train. Is the problem with the line, or is the problem with the train? The problem is with the line. Do we know what caused this to crash?
Well, no, that was going to be one of my questions. Was this deliberate? Was this an act of terrorism, sabotage, or, you know, was the derailment planned?
Was the derailment planned? No, but the tracks are very poorly maintained. Okay. There's a lot of bent rails. There's a lot of, you know, it's just lack of maintenance.
Okay, so the crumbling infrastructure basically caused it, yeah?
Yeah, the lack of maintenance.
Yeah.
Is what I'm getting. Yeah. And I feel like, you know, things were missing from the rails. Look, I don't know anything about rails. I should. As much as we watch Thomas the Bloody Tank Engine around here, right? I should know. But, you know, they don't talk about that. But, yeah, definitely it was a maintenance issue. So whoever maintains those lines, they're the ones that are responsible. Maybe not even the train carrier, because the train carrier, do you own those lines? See, the train carrier said, no, they don't own the lines. Those lines are maintained by somebody else. Do we know who maintains those lines?
Do we? No, I don't. No.
Okay. Well, I ask that someone comes forward if they want us to probe this further, and they drop us a comment on who maintains those lines.
Yeah. Okay, so I think you've already answered this, but why is the news media, which is government essentially, why are they all staying quiet about this? Are they afraid to let people know the extent of possible consequences? Or were they in on it? Well, I think we've.
Well, let's ask what, because you know, sometimes the media does go against government, right?
Oh, really?
Sometimes they do. Well, they certainly did when
years ago, yeah, in the 1960s and 70s. Not now. They don't. They might as well be. They might as well be the sixth branch of the government now.
The sixth branch of the government. That's so funny. You're funny, Mr. Shakespeare. Why are you staying quiet about this? They don't really know what to report. You know, they need to get in-depth reporting. You know, that's something that we lack over here. And unfortunately, our reporting standards here are pretty bad. You know, if this was, and I'm not sticking up for the BBC, but because I know a lot of UK people are going to say, Liz, I can't believe you said that. The BBC are just as corrupt. Yes, well, there's corruption everywhere. But if this was like a UK news report, they would have all the scientists out there. They would have the environmentalists out there. They would be interviewing like conservation people. Hang
on, Liz. No, they wouldn't. No.
You don't think so?
No, they wouldn't. And I'll tell you for why. It's because of what you said earlier. The government doesn't know what to do, can't afford to pay compensation, and can't afford to sort everything out. Okay? If that was the case and it happened over here, it would be buried. It would be memory hold exactly the same way. Look at the big fire that happened to a big block of flats in London.
Grenfell Tower. I was there. I was in London when that happened. We could see the fire from where we were. We could see the smoke.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. They memory hold things. If it's, you know, if it's something like a complete accident, then okay, they'll talk about it. But when they realize the costs and everything else, they're not going to publicize it, you know? So, no, I disagree. The BBC buries so much information. Well, I mean, no, they are not your BBC that you perhaps remember. I wouldn't trust them as far as I could throw them, any of them. They have lost all objectivity with reporting. Hopeless, absolutely hopeless they are. There was a massive, great big, you know, when there are these peace marches in France and, you know, where hundreds and hundreds of thousands, doesn't even get mentioned on the BBC. There was a peace march the other week, I think, outside their own headquarters in London. They didn't report it, So no, please don't quote the BBC. No, Liz, no.
That is so funny. I actually, when I first got to London, I was doing temp jobs, and I ended up working at the BBC World Service. And I was just so excited. I called my dad and I was like, Dad, guess what? I've been posted to the BBC World Service. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. I'm gonna get to know all this stuff. And instead, like the manager of the department, he sat next to me with his guitar and was just singing to me all day.
Right. Okay.
It was so funny. I was so excited. And then, you know what happened? I ended up getting moved to a different position. And the very next day, you remember when the BBC was bombed in London? Do you remember that?
Yeah, vaguely. Yeah.
I got moved. So it was a Friday. I'm pretty sure it was a Friday it got bombed. A Thursday or Friday. I got moved from the BBC to another area in London. I got moved from the BBC, and the next day, the next morning, the bombs went off. If you remember that, everybody will have to look that up. So there you go. Spirit, we're taking care of me. Not that I don't think anybody was killed in that bomb, but still, I mean, I wasn't there. Thank God. Yeah. So anyway, I don't know. I still like the BBC. I still have a lot of respect for the BBC. I know people are going to roll their eyes, but compared to the reporting that we get here, it certainly is, a lot better quality. I know that you're used to a higher standard in the UK, and I totally get that. And I understand the erosion and all of that. But compared to the US reporting, it's still pretty good.
Well, no, they're just all government propaganda over there. They take the narrative and spin it out. You've only got to look at all the major networks and news outlets. They all spin the same thing. There are no reporters there. They need to get Seymour Hersh on it. He'll work it out. He'll find out what's happened. Anyway.
Or Mr. Shakespeare.
Or Mr. Shakespeare, yeah, but he's a proper investigative journalist, so I'm not. Right, next question. Will these chemicals remain in the upper atmosphere, or will they be rained down?
Oh, I like whoever posed these questions. Will the chemicals remain in the atmosphere? No, they've already come down to Earth.
Okay. What are some of the symptoms of potential contamination that people should look out for?
Some of the symptoms of potential contamination people should look for. Mainly lung issues. I feel like this is really sticking to the lungs. Obviously the lungs, it's going to spread it out, but really mainly the lungs right now. Over time, I feel like pancreas, I feel like bladder. This is, where the body is trying to flush out the toxins, and they just, the body cannot get rid of everything. And for those of you that know anything about bladder cancer, let me ask, what about bladder cancer? What about bladder? Yeah, see, again, it will, try to be expelled, obviously, through urine in the body. But a lot of times, the bladder will hold on to the toxins, and then it develops into bladder cancer. If you've ever researched bladder cancer, a lot of people that work in the airline industry that breathe in the jet fuel, the guys out there with the cones and the things directing the planes, or people that work in close proximity to jet fuel, they're very prone to bladder cancer, as well as smokers. Smokers are as well, because the toxins in the cigarettes cannot be expelled. And a lot of times these toxins just build up in the bladder over time. So it feels like the knock-on effect is going to be pancreas, bladder, but certainly the first point of contact is going to be the lungs. What about the water supply? Is the water supply going to be contaminated? So individual, city water supplies, I feel like the process of decontamination is quite effective. I'm getting that, no, not so much there, but obviously it's going to be in the ground and contaminate the crops anyway.
Right.
That was a good question. These are very good questions.
Yeah,
I love our Discord people. They're so smart.
Someone has they took their time over this. Will there be a die-off of people in the region at some point, as there were animals and fish after detonation?
No, I feel like what it will happen is it's not going to be an immediate die-off, right? It's going to be one added thing to add to multiple health problems.
All right.
Did a lot of fish and livestock die right there on the spot? I haven't looked at this. I haven't followed.
Yeah, within proximity, yes, they did.
Wow.
How does the molecular composition of those chemicals change after being burnt? Did they become more toxic than the vinyl chloride in its original state?
More toxic than the vinyl chloride in its original state. No. So did it, is it still just as toxic? It's about equal. These are great questions. It's about equal toxicity. It's just the way it's absorbed. So obviously what Spirit are giving us, or the mind probe, is giving us, when it's in its original form, it's more concentrated. By it exploding and catching on fire, that dissipated it spread it out into a wider area. But the toxicity level did not actually change, which is unfortunate. I was hoping that we would have gotten that it would have been made it weaker, but no. Did it make it stronger? It does make it stronger in the fact that it was combined with smoke, because obviously the smoke is toxic. It's the way it's ingested into the body that makes it more toxic. Because these chemicals, and I don't know exactly what this is and what it does and why it's needed, but these chemicals you cannot breathe it. You can't get near it.
Right.
What do they use these chemicals for? Do you know?
No, not really. Tom Luongo had something on one of his videos yesterday, I think it was, where he was talking about it, and I was only half paying attention, but he was saying that whatever they're used, it should all be in one place. We shouldn't have to be, the manufacturing of whatever it is they use to manufacture should be in one place. We shouldn't have to be hauling these very, very dangerous chemicals, these kind of distances on rail tracks. Right. Next question. Did the powers that be create this explosion to change the consciousness of people and make us more controllable via alchemy?
Wow. Did the powers that be? Okay, repeat that question. I love that question. Let's break it down.
Did the powers that be, aka the deep state, create this explosion to change the consciousness of people and make us more controllable via alchemy?
No.
Okay. It's all right.
No, this was orchestrated by the universe. I mean, obviously everything is orchestrated by the universe.
Well, I've got a question about that. So hold on, Liz. Hold on. Next question. Was this explosion part of Earth's plan for cleansing?
Oh, there you go. Was this explosion part of Earth's plan of cleansing? Yes, it's a wake-up call. Absolutely. And that was a great question, because that's what the Earth does. It cleanses itself. And the universe makes sure that the Earth will always survive, no matter how much humans try to trash the Earth. it will always survive. Just know that. I know that we're concerned with global warming, and so we should be, and recycling and plastics and all of that. But the earth will always outlive us. We will not be without an earth. If we don't have an earth, let me source this. Would you send us to live anywhere else? No, it likes to make us live on the earth plane. The earth plane is so rich and full of magnetic control. We've talked about that before, where the planets they're there to pull and push and cause and create. Everything is energy. Everything is attraction or repel. These, magnetic, that's what it's all about. And in its simplest form, it's all energy. So the earth will create, the universe will create these things to cleanse itself. Now, with regards to the big C word, right? I can't say it, but that is exactly what we got. Those of you that have been following me for a long time, we put out content right at the beginning of that, where the universe created this because it was to bring us into a higher state of consciousness, right? We were like robots prior to that. We were eat, work, and sleep, right? That's all we were doing. We were never home. We were like machines. And suddenly the universe says, I know, we're going to bring this to the earth plane as a huge life lesson that impacts everybody. Well, what happened with that? Everybody had to take stock of who they are, what they're doing, where's their life path going. A lot of people became so much more spiritual. It was a reminder that we are not in control. And these things are wake-up calls from the universe and, of course, to protect the earth plane. Absolutely.
Right, next question. Did the blast release dioxins into the atmosphere?
Did the blast release dioxins into the atmosphere? Dioxins?
Yeah.
Did the blast release dioxins into the atmosphere? I feel like it released a lot of carcinogenic materials. Did it release dioxins? So this is like, I'm just looking this up. Dioxin-like compounds are a group of chemical compounds that are persistent organic pollutants in the environment. They are mostly products of burning so dioxins. It has, but as far as like breaking it down into different compounds, it actually transformed and created different sets of compounds that are, carcinogenic.
Okay. Right. That is all the questions I have on the current timeline. Now we have a bunch of questions, which you'll know why I'm doing them now. So can we go out 10 years, please?
Ooh, okay. So
Palestine, Ohio in 10 years' time.
Okay. So let's go February 22nd. So we're moving Ohio. Okay. February 22nd, 2033, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, what would you like to know?
So is the toxic waste still there?
Is the toxic waste still
in
there?
Palestine, Ohio?
Yes, it's permanent.
Is there anyone there currently still trying to clean it up?
Is there anyone there currently still trying to clean it up? So here's what's happening now. There are a lot of scientists and researchers now studying this area. They're doing a lot of research studies. There have been government grants to study this after the fact. They're studying health effects. They're studying soil. They're studying crops, animals, blood samples, urine samples to find out how catastrophic this event actually is. There's universities out there, there's professors out there, lots of medical research. They have not come to any conclusions as of yet, but it looks like this is an ongoing study and it will take place for probably 20 years.
So is it still a toxic place to live?
Is it still a toxic place to live? Yes.
Okay. Did any entity buy any of that toxic land?
Did any buy anything, any of that toxic land? No, I feel like the government has taken control of the land.
So therefore, there's the next question. Did the government make it into any kind of restricted area?
Did the government make it into any kind of restricted area? Yes.
Okay. Are there any fish in the water locally?
Are there any fish in the water locally? Yes.
Are they okay, or are they poisoned, or what's the situation?
They're not okay, and they're also being studied.
Right. Okay, that's all the questions we have.
Well, thank you to whoever posed these questions on the Discord. Wow, great work. You know, like I said, we have some great people on there. Just so grateful for all of them. And
But
these
this
were
is, if I can
excellent.
just say something, this is some of the best way. You know, you ask for questions, you've done that before, and you know, it's easy for me, and therefore it becomes a better reading for everybody. You know, if I can look down on the Discord, read these questions through, work them out, you know, put them into some sort of order if they're not already, and then, you know, like then go forward on the future ones. You know, so that, you know, it's all very well giving a subject matter, but it's questions that we actually need, that, you know, that you guys want answers to. So, you know, how it's laid out here, there are two people, I won't name them, but like, you know, this is exactly what I'd like to see. It's, you know, it's, for me, it's perfect.
Yeah, I agree. And you know, we would love to be able to watch every video reference that gets thrown across the desk, right? It's just not possible. So a lot of times people are saying, and even outsiders of the Discord, you know, they'll email, oh, Liz, watch this video, do a probe. Okay, don't do that, because Liz does not have time to watch videos. I barely have enough time to make them. So please, it's always better if you do your own research. You list the questions just like Mr. Shakespeare said here, and we can sit here banging out videos all day long. If we're not having to do this research and you guys have done your homework, we are most likely going to cover the topic that you want covered. So I really appreciate this, Mr. Shakespeare. And again, thank you to that person or those people on the Discord. This was an excellent probe. Thank you.